Would you like to learn how to make this beautiful hat using Chroma Twist and Bravo worsted weighted yarn? Let me show you how to make this beautiful hat using a double brim and really easy stitches. I'm sure you're going to love it in the end, and it adds a beautiful pom-pom in the end. Gorgeous, super warm, super comfy. So let's get started. For this pattern, you're going to need some Bravo worsted weighted yarn and some Chroma Twist. Both of them I got from Crochet. I also used a 4mm hook, some scissors, and a tapestry needle. And if you would like to make your own pom-pom using faux fur yarn, I have a separate tutorial for that. Check it out on my YouTube channel as well as on my website. There is a link down below in the description for that as well. To crochet the ribbing or the brim, you're going to chain a chain of 20 using the solid color of the two worsted weighted skeins that you have. Then you're going to start crocheting single crochets starting from the second chain from the hook into the back bump right here. So all you have to do is turn your chain around and crochet into the back bump, right? So we have here chain 1, chain 2. So that's where we're going into that back bump right there. So all you're doing is crocheting some single crochets. So that's all we're doing for now for the first 19 chains. Once you reach the end, you're simply going to turn, and then starting from the second row, you're always going to crochet into the back loop only, and it's all single crochets. I like skipping the chain of 1, so simply go in and crochet your single crochets. Why do I skip the chain of 1? Because it makes a little bump, and if you want a little bit more information, I have a separate tutorial for that. So all I'm doing is crocheting single crochets into the back bump only. And that's seriously all you're doing for the entire ribbing. Now, I should mention though that if you would like to have the ribbing non-fold over, you're simply doing half the amount of chains from the beginning, right? So I chained 20. So if you prefer not folding over your brim, then just do 10. That's all. So it's totally up to you. I like folding it over. It gives it a little bit more volume and dimension, and it just looks really pretty. It is a little bit more work, obviously, double the amount of work, but it makes it look really pretty in the end. So it's up to you. Either fold over and do 20 or non-fold over and do 10. But the rest of the pattern is completely the same. So once you reach the end, you're simply going to turn and continue. So always do single crochets into the back loop only. So how long are you going to make the ribbing? Well, that depends on whom you're making this hat for. So you're going to measure that out. I have the written tutorial for this pattern on my website, and that includes a table that allows you to figure out how long you need to make this ribbing for, okay, this brim. So you literally have to measure it out, or you simply just know it by looking at the table and say, hey, I'm going to make a hat for let's say a 7-year-old, and you're going to look at the table and you figure out exactly how long you need to make the ribbing for or brim, and then you simply crochet that far, okay? So don't look at the row count per se, but look at the measurement. That's a lot more important when it comes to that, okay? Now you got to remember that this is a stretchy ribbing, so you want to make sure that you do stretch it out a little bit when you measure it. Otherwise, it's going to be way too big in the end, okay? So stretch it out just slightly to make sure that it really does fit in the end perfectly and it's not gigantically big, okay? And then once you're done, you come back here. So once you've finished the brim, you're going to fold it over like so, and you're going to sew it together or crochet it together. I like crocheting together because I'm actually going to go around it with the same color and crochet more. So let's do that. So I'm just going to take my yarn. So I'm going to go through both of these stitches. So I'm going to line these up, and I'm going to do slip stitches like so. So the first one's always a little challenging, and after that it's going to be easier. You can also go just through 2 of them. If you find it too bulky, it's totally fine. And then you're going to flip this over so you don't really see that edge anymore. This is really just to combine the edges together and make a circle. So it actually turns into a hat. All right, once you've finished, it's gonna look like this. So you're gonna have this a little bit of a thicker edge right here. So you're gonna simply flip this inside out, and you're gonna have to put your yarn through, because otherwise it's gonna be on the opposite side. And then you're going to continue crocheting all the way around. So let me pull my yarn. So now we're going to go evenly all the way around. So now, how many stitches are you going to do? Well, that depends, okay? So you want to have it evenly, but the number actually doesn't matter too much, because the stitch we're going to use doesn't have a specific multiple number. You also don't want to make it too tight. So you have a certain amount of rows. So I would suggest either having about the same amount of rows or slightly less. If you have a little bit more than that, it's going to make it a little bit too poofy. So I would suggest either going with the same amount of rows or slightly less, but not too much. So it's really depends on what yarn you have and what tension you have. So just test it out. It really doesn't matter. I know this seems very vague and a lot of people don't like that. Just give me a number. My number is go with the amount of rows that you have, and just go all the way around and make it evenly. It really doesn't matter too much, I promise. As long as not too tight, you are fine, because you want to make sure your hat still fits, right? At the same time, by the way, I'm weaving in here my yarn. And I'm just doing single crochets, as you probably have noticed now. At the end of the row, I'm going to slip stitch, and then I'm going to cut my yarn and start with the different yarn. Okay, so now we're going to do this stitch called Pique, P-I-Q-U-E, hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, which is a combination of a half double crochet and a double crochet. It's first actually a double crochet and then a half double crochet, and you're making them together in one stitch. It almost looks like a cluster. So let's do that together. So per stitch, you have these two as a combination. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through. Now yarn over, pull through two. Now yarn over, insert again in the same stitch, yarn over, pull through. You have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 4. And now you're going to repeat that for every single stitch. So here we're at the next stitch. By the way, I'm weaving in my yarn here at the same time. So yarn over and pull through after I had already yarned over, right? So now I have 3 on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Now yarn over, insert again, yarn over, pull through. I have 4 on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. Let's do that again. So I yarned over, right? Insert, then I have 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through. I have 4, yarn over, and pull through all 4. So what you're doing is you're doing first an unfinished double crochet, and then you're doing a half double crochet, and you're combining them together. So let me show you that one more time. So yarn over, pull through. So this is kind of the first step of a double crochet, right? Here's the second step of a double crochet. You're stopping right here, and you're adding a half double crochet right to it. Okay, yarn over, and now you're pulling through all 4. So you're going to continue on and doing this beautiful cluster all the way around. In fact, I don't even do any slip stitches right here. I'm just going to continue on. I'm going to have continuous rounds because I don't want to have any slip stitches here. I want it to look smooth. So I'm going to continue on until I have the height that I need for the hat that I'm making. Once you now have everything done you need to have done, okay? That means you have your ribbing done, you have your top part done, and by the way, the hat height is this height, okay? So measured from here to about here, roughly. Okay, that is your hat height. So that's what you want to measure out. And don't worry that this is kind of going out a little bit. I made it that way because I wanted to have a little bit more volume, and it's also going to come kind of together right here. So it's providing this beautiful little you know, bump right here, which is going to look amazing on your hat, on your head. It's really, really pretty in the end. So don't worry about that. It looks a little bit more expanded. Okay. Once you're done with that, use your tapestry needle. And then what you're doing is you're simply going around every third or fourth stitch and kind of weaving your, so I knotted it here, right, with a slip knot. And then I'm now weaving my yarn with my tapestry needle kind of through my stitches like so. About every third or fourth stitch, you know, kind of estimating. Doesn't have to be exact, but roughly the same. And you're kind of going all the way around. Okay, so once you reach the end, you kind of want to pull, pull, and pull, and pull until it's closed. So now then, once I do that, I kind of hold it like this, okay, nice and tight. And then I weave my yarn through like so. So it makes it nice and tight. Still looks pretty, don't worry. Okay, I'm not weaving it in just yet. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Pom Pom right here, which I made. Again, I have the tutorial on my website as well as my YouTube channel. So I like kind of going through here and simply sewing my Pom Pom onto my hat. So all I'm doing is pulling it through. So this can be a little tricky because you want to make sure it stays right where it needs to stay. So I pulled it through here and then kind of do a little weave over here just to make sure it's secure, right? And now I'm going to go through again and through the Pom Pom. And then through the hat again. I like doing that a few times just to make sure it really is secure and the Pom Pom is not bobbling back and forth, because you know what happens if you have only like one location where you're attaching your Pom Pom to the hat to. The Pom Pom has a little space, right? And if you move it a little bit further and you have like multiple different locations for the Pom Pom, it doesn't bobble back and forth too much and actually kind of stays secure. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make this beautiful hat using Chroma Twist and Brava worsted weighted yarn. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please leave a comment below, like and share this video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the bell to get a notification the next time I publish a new video or go live. I hope to see you next time. Until then, bye!